how do you have intimacy without sex? A lot of men think that that's the only way to be intimate, physical connection. And unfortunately for a lot of men, as he said, it wasn't demonstrated for them. And when they did try to do it, they got told they were a simp, or you were R&B, you know, you called me, all the stuff we like to put on men when they're trying to be a Ronnie Romance kind of guy. 90s R&B me all day, baby. I want that vibe. I want that feeling. And we just had this conversation, as he said yesterday. And it's not about not having physical touch. It's about not putting emphasis on penetration. It's about making your wife feel like she matters past you pumping and dumping on her, or past her sitting on top of you. And that is intimacy. But what about during the day checking on her, right? Those are small bits of attention that people want. For women, and I know people have heard it millions of times before, sex for a woman starts way before the clothes come off. We want to feel cherished throughout the day. Your job is not only to protect and provide for me in the typical common financial sense, right? And in the safety sense, fight for me. You're supposed to also protect and provide for me in an intimate way. Protect me from having the idea of looking at another man because he's giving me what you're not. Provide for me in a way where even when he does slide in my DMs, or I do see him on a train or whatever, I'm not even interested, because you're providing all the things that I need to feel sexy and desired and wanted. But what I will say also is, you asked the initial question, what do? We laugh a lot. As you can see, we're joshing and we hang out. And I think fun is underrated in relationships. Him talking about what he needs to do better in is more of the traditional sense of intimacy and romance, which is like candle lights and stuff like that. But he's very intimate in other ways. And that's what I want men and women to know as well. Intimacy doesn't have to look like a rom-com. Though those are great, the bubble baths and the rose petals and surprising you in the hotel rooms, and those things are done up, which he has done. It's a matter about doing it more, not resting on the thing you're good at. You're great with bringing her flowers. Okay, what else? Right? Just like she shouldn't be giving you do-rag sex all the time and not wearing lingerie, right? It's on the flip side too. If he needs to be satisfied in a way where he's a visual creature, so do we. So finding ways that you feel desired past intercourse and past anything sexual, to me, is really important. So what I'm learning as a wife is, it's not that he's not highly intimate or romantic. His way of being romantic is different. And he just needs to learn to speak my romance language just a bit more, so that we both have satisfaction. Because a lot of women tend to be like, he doesn't do this. And it's like, no. It's not that he doesn't do it. He just doesn't do it in the way you would like it. So how about you start to respect and appreciate how he does it, and then he dials yours up more. So there's a nice co-hybrid situation happening there.
Preach.
I love that. Church. That's a word, because I've learned over time, like you're saying, Stephanie, you know, that intimacy look different for different people. And like you said, with Dennis, it can be laughter, right? And I've learned over time, because what I do now is I send my wife a text message, not every day. And I got drugged through the mud on Twitter for this, and people's calling me a simp. It went viral. It was crazy. And I told my wife, what can I do today to make you feel love?
Yes.
I send her that text every so often, and people is coming for me. If you know her, why you gotta ask?
No, because people change and grow every day. And what I needed last Monday, I might need something different. Whatever happened at work, with my family, with myself, as a woman, even just going through her cycle every month I need something different. Right? Depending on what happened to me in transit from work to home, depending on what my mom needs, depending on what he needs. Every day will be different. And doesn't mean I'm schizophrenic. It means I'm human, having a human experience. Yep. So for a man to realize, like, she might not like the sunflowers or need the sunflowers I bought her last week, I want to ask her how I can show her this week. That means you're very present. And I'd rather you go viral for being a simp than go viral for being an F-boy.
Preach.
Really?
That'll preach. That's a bar. Can you tell us a tough time y'all experienced in marriage, and how did y'all get through it?
Therapy.
Tough time, therapy. Anytime, but there's been two tough times, but at the same time too, it was the concept was pretty simple. Can we say a therapist is a referee?
Yes.
Is that good?
Yes.
Is that a fair statement?
Fair statement, babe.
Like, if you got to a point where it was like, look. we're not communicating.
So it makes me shy. I'm just like
we're just saying things, and it's like it's not hitting.
We weren't fighting fair.
It's not hitting. So we actually got in front of some people and had conversations, and you'd be surprised when there's a referee.
Dennis, hold on, please, because that will preach. I love that. You need a referee, your therapist, because it can be, y'all playing, right? Sometimes we can be opposite teams, right?
Yes.
Basketball reference. Dennis, you might get called for a travel. And the referee got to stop. Dennis, you traveling. Turn over.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're on it.
You're on it. You're on it. And that's the thing where imagine you have two teams. There's a travel violation. You have two coaches yelling at each other because the referee, obviously, two coaches are yelling at the referee because the referee either made a good call or a bad call.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are, in this therapy session. Okay, Dennis, this is where you can do better.
Yeah.
Okay, Stephanie, this is where you can do better. Do you want to?
Stay there. The do you want to is huge, because the whole justification, Sean, of character flaws and this is just who I am and you met me like this, gonna have a lot of people single and or divorced or still together and very unhappy. And it was a matter of, do I want to do this differently? Like, had to sit back and ask myself, this is how I've always spoken to him. Do I want to change how I speak? Is what he means to me worth it? And if the answer is no, that's okay. Leave the relationship. You cannot sit in a relationship and have a referee and still decide that the referee don't know what they're talking about. We had a beautiful therapist named Judy, a white Jewish lady who knew nothing about our culture. And it was phenomenal to have someone who was non-biased, who didn't know us from anything and just heard us speak and air out our grievances. And yes, she took her notes and she would just calmly be like, so Stephanie, was it necessary to say it that way? Dennis, maybe she'll be relieved if you stop, whatever. She was just very clear, very concise, and really called us up and out. And sometimes those drives home from therapy were very quiet.
It's very all quiet.
It was only a 10-minute ride, but it felt like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes it caused us to have conversation and spark dialogue. So referees, to me, are necessary. It helped us. And I don't even remember what we were going through at that point.
It's just you did, when you're with someone, history's there, you run into some hurdles and some trials and tribulations.
Yep.
And then the concept is, do you actually want to work on these, or do you just want them? Do you want these things to fester and then just get to a point where you just wake up and like, I don't even want to see this person's face.
Yeah.
So we got to a point where we wanted to take a step, have somebody talk, have somebody in front of us while we're sharing information. And she gave us some tools.
Yeah. And what people ask me is like, well, you're a life coach. Why would you have to go to therapy? Why do you go to individual therapy? Why? You should know. And I'm like, it's not my job in a relationship to carry all the emotional weight. What I got credentialed for and the gift God gave me, yes, I do use it sometimes in our marriage, but guess what? He's not my patient. He's not my client, and I shouldn't over therapize or, bring everything I learned to the relationship. That's not fair to him. And it's not fair to me because I need an outlet as well. And I don't trust any coach or therapist who does not have a coach or a therapist. I don't trust anyone who doesn't feel like who feels they're above reproach when it comes to mental and emotional health. No.
Reach. That's a word, because I was saying the other day, I guess I'm kind of rabbit trails, but it's amazing how many people want to be coaches, but they will never pay for a coach.
Say it again. I said, say it again.
You want people to believe in you as a coach, and credentialing is important. Getting your certifications and your license and your master's, if you're going to be therapists and so forth and so on. Yes, that's important. But investing in yourself so that you can be the person that the clients need is paramount, because how can I coach you when I don't understand coaching from the client perspective? Child, don't get me started. Move on. Move on now.
I want to ask this question. How do you think married couples should have individual therapists and a marriage therapist?
100%. I knew he was going to point at me. 100%. We were, before he started individual therapy, we had the couples therapy. And I told him I felt like he was using our couples therapy as his individual therapy, and that wasn't fair to the couple session. And I didn't even tell Judy, the therapist, at the time that I was feeling that way. We go to a session and it somehow was woven in the session discussion. And she said, I completely agree and it shouldn't be me. She said, I can recommend some people. You need an outlet just to be Dennis, relieve little Dennis's trauma, speak about her freely. Because yeah, we're speaking freely in therapy, but you're still having RBC, the respect and boundaries, because you don't want to say certain things that'll backfire, right? You might say them, but you'll say them on eggshells. Or even if they're not eggshells, you're saying it respectfully. In your own individual session, if you want to wild out, only you and your therapist know that, right? If you want to call her out her name, if you want to be like, she just like her mama and I can't stand her mama, you're allowed to do that when she's not around. And, you know, at first he was a little annoyed. Like, what? I'm finally going to therapy. You're going to tell me? And when she told him, he finally was like, okay. And then he got into therapy and he fell in love with it.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what's up. Yeah, I love it because people used to question. They thought my wife and I was crazy. They're like, "What y'all doing with all these therapists?" I'm like, "No, you need your individual therapist." Like you said, Stephanie, if you need to wild out or you feel like you don't have to walk on eggshells and deal with your little kid issues, you know, that's what that individual is for. And then when you do get into the marriage, you can talk about as a unit.
Absolutely. And I wish more people would do that. I didn't know what I didn't know. In hindsight, 20 years ago, even when he proposed to me years later, we would not have gotten married unless we had couples counseling and individual counseling. Of course, we were 20, we didn't know any better. And though I knew as a church kid, I'm a pastor's kid, though I was raised that you should have premarital counseling before marriage, it was church-based. And because I saw what I saw as a pastor's kid, I didn't trust it. Right? Because there was a lot of counseling happening in the church for marriages by uncredentialed deacons, pastors, and ministers that you can't be telling me by the word of God when what you're basically telling me. And again, love God, believe in God, all that. But a lot of the Bible is sexist. And a lot of it is geared towards submitting to a man that does not submit to you. Right. And there were a lot of people being cheated on and hurt and violated. And it's just like, no, pray about it. I didn't subscribe to it because of what I saw as a pastor's kid. In hindsight, now that I know actual credentialed beings do this, and it's not just in your church, there's no way I would advise marriage without individual and couples counseling with a minimum of 6 months to a year first, before you plan one thing about the wedding.
Yeah, I mean, if we had a Thanos snap and we gave the ability to have that anyone could have therapy, how better would the world be if before you were allowed to get married, you had to get therapy, couples therapy before you actually went in? What if, how better would the world be?
And not just go to therapy, Sean, and you'll see this if you haven't already with your clients, not just go to coaching and sit there.
Do the work.
I'm talking about participate.
Do the work.
I have fired clients, Sean, because I felt like they were just showing up to complain. And then when I challenge them or give them homework assignments, you're coming back and you didn't do your homework. You only got 1 or 2 times with that for me to be like, I'm not your coach. This is not the type of life coaching I do. I am serious about my coaching. I am serious about transforming lives. And if you're not really going to actually do the work, but people like to be performative, Sean, they like to say, especially now because pop therapy and pop psychology is so big, I am in therapy. I got a life coach. Ooh, my life coach is the same life coach on the Housewives show. That's my girl. And it's like, but are you doing the actual work? So not just go to therapy. I would definitely recommend you go to individual and coaching therapy together separately, minimum 6 months to a year.
I love it. That's good. Because one thing that I've noticed over time is a lot of marriages, and congratulations on the longevity, like sticking it out, because by today's culture, people, they will drop you in a New York minute. And I said most relationships today are, well, back in the day when we were growing up, to my age, we used to actually fix stuff, right? Something was broke, we fixed it. And we rock with that thing until the wheels fall off, whether if it was a bike, a toy, or whatever. Yeah, car, right? We working on it. But nowadays, we just Amazon. You know what I'm saying?
Instant.
I call it for some of my, thank you, lady. Appreciate you kindly. I call it for some of us Black men out there, some of us. There's three things we usually run into, some of us Black men: sloppiness, laziness, and stupidness.
SLS.
SLS is what I've deemed that.
Yes.
Yeah.
The lazy is, coincides with, I don't want to fix it. I don't even want to raise my hand to fix whatever is broken. I don't even want to use the energy I have to fix it. It'll just be whatever it is. Some of us men are very lazy when it comes to our relationships, which is interesting because you could be so strong in your career, but then so strong in your basketball tournaments, but then terrible in your relationship with your lady.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting how some of us can't multitask or compartmentalize
Or prioritize properly. It's about prioritizing what matters most, what's most important. That basketball game and that career won't be at your deathbed. It's really about prioritizing what matters most. And I love that men are career driven because yes, you're supposed to provide. But again, providing is not just your paycheck. You're supposed to provide my love. You're supposed to provide my security in intimacy, in feeling like you're communicating with me. It's so much deeper than rap, Sean.
Balance.
Being a husband and a wife is so much deeper. And you mentioned 13 years and congratulating us. And I appreciate that because you're right. Our older generation stuck it out. This generation is microwave. I think we need to find a hybrid because there are a lot of people in our generation who should not have stuck it out. And then there's a lot of people now who need to work a little harder. So if we can find a healthy balance, and I believe that starts with a spirit of discernment, is this worth me sticking it out? Has the needle moved where I can see that there's been a change in him and in me? One of the reasons that we're still here, and baby, tell me if you agree, is because, like we said last night, what we're fighting about is fixable. It's a matter of, like I said earlier, do you want to? And if you don't want to, love me enough to tell me the truth so that I can make an informed decision that separates me from the hurt that I'm feeling that you're causing.
Bing bong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good because I realized, like with Amazon, it's just like, oh, it's broken. We just order one and it's on our doorstep the next day. Yeah. And wait till y'all see this video. If y'all listen to this via podcast, you got to see the video. The video is priceless.
Then he got props.
Got props. We just like that with relationships.
Yeah.
We don't want to fix it. We just order it on Amazon. We just order somebody on social media, right? Oh, I like her. I like him. I'm going to replace them. And next thing you know, they show up on your doorstep. 24 hours later, you got a new man or a new woman. So rarely do we want to fix things. And I think that's something that I love in our old school generation as far as fixing things and seeing things through instead of just trying to replace somebody.
I just want people to know that fixing things doesn't mean sweeping it under the rug. A lot of our old school generation didn't fix anything. They just were quiet about it. Daddy got a whole family down the block. We just not going to talk about it and act like we don't see them kids. Mommy emasculates daddy, so we just going to say happy wife and happy life and be on eggshells until mommy feels better. All of that was not fixing. It was actually unhealthy. So while I agree with you, I think it's really important to be clear and distinct about what was fixing, where things were changing, growing, and evolving versus we just quiet as Black folk. And it's like, don't tell my business in this house. We just going to be unhappy in this house. But when we go outside, we putting on them church hats, them Easter clothes, and everybody think that we the best family on the block. Okay. Because my collard greens are hitting. There's a difference. There's a difference.
All I.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. No, thanks for the clarity. I appreciate that. Cause I'm sure somebody going to be in the comments and Sean told me to fix it. So thanks for the clarity.
No, if you're in domestic violence situations, disclaimers, unfortunately, Sean, are necessary because people have the right to perceive things the way they do. Disclaimers are important, especially in our line of work. We're not telling anyone to stay in a situation where they are physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially being abused or their children. We're saying evaluate your spirit of discernment, evaluate your self-worth, your self-abandonment actions, and see who you are, not just what he's doing or she's doing. What role role are you playing? And if you're playing a role that is fixable and vice versa, and fixable in a healthy way, not masking it with alcohol, not getting a side piece, not going to church more and thinking that's better because you're hiding in the house of the Lord. That's a separate conversation. But doing it where you guys are coming together and having the healthy dialogues like you and I and Dennis are having right now, and getting a healthy credentialed referee, aka therapist and or life coach.
She good.
I
She
love
good.
that. I love that. Hey, Kendrick Lamar said it best. He said, "You ain't felt pain until you felt it sober." So
Talk about it. Come on, Kendrick. It's a
yeah,
word.
I know, right? That's a
Yeah.
bar.